Well, there's a growing demand for private schools that are providing private school quality education at a price point comparable to many government schools. Now, with some school fees set to rise by more than twice the inflation rate, a growing number of middle-class parents will not be able to afford the cost of education in 2020. Joining me via Skype is Lebogang Montjane, who's the executive, Montjane rather, who is the executive director of the Independent Schools Association of South Africa. But we also have Matakanye, who's the Secretary General of the National Association of School Governing Bodies. And I'll start with you, Lebogang. Thank you so much for joining us. There is no doubt that independent schools are filling a gaping hole that is left by overstretched and even under-resourced public sector. But talk to us about what you think is behind the rise of these independent schools in South Africa.
Good evening, Busisiwe. I think that independent schools provide an addition to what happens in the public system. But as the Minister of Education indicated quite clearly at the announcement of the trick result, it's a very minuscule part of school education in South Africa. It's around 3% of students are actually in independent schools. But I think that what we do is that we offer, as a sector, choice for parents, including the public sector, as another choice for parents to choose.
Well, for those who might not know, just take us through the basics of running an independent schools. I mean, would you say that it's significantly different from a fee-paying public school?
Actually, I think that, Busisiwe, you're absolutely right there. Public schools, fee-paying public schools, certainly quintile 4 and 5, are comparable in terms of fees, in terms of independent schools. And some of our independent schools actually charge lower fees than those of public schools.
If we look at the data, I mean, there's under 2,000 independent schools in South Africa with over 400,000 students. Would you say that that is the way to go for parents these days?
No, I think that really the most important things parents must remember and try to do is that they must find the right school for their child. And also we as the Independent Schools Association, the SASA, we really encourage parents to think about what is best for their child, not what they want, but what is best for their child. And sometimes what's best for their child is a good public school, and sometimes it's a very good independent school. And I think it is also important for parents to understand that merely because a school is independent, it does not make it a good school.
Yeah.
And they also have to make sure that when they send their children to independent schools, that those schools are registered with the Department of Education.
And I want us to talk about those challenges that are faced by some of these independent schools insofar as the quality of education that they offer. We'll certainly look into that as we delve into this conversation. But I want to just introduce Ntate Matakanye, who's the Secretary General of the National Association of School Governing Bodies. Ntate, independent schools are thriving in South Africa. Your response to that?
Yes, well, we are in really a serious democracy in South Africa where people have got the right to choose, particularly that independent schools are serving those communities who have the different religious beliefs. Then we encouraged that they could be thriving in South Africa. However, due to the economic challenges that we are facing, parents are unable really to pay the fees because they are independent. The government just subsidizes them. The teachers are not being paid by the government. Their buildings and everything. So the government just subsidized them. So they are really not surviving. However, we also would like to encourage the public education that, because the truth of the matter is that the perception out there within the communities that the independent schools are providing quality education. So it simply means that now the public school do not, So, and then it's not by choice by going to the public schools. It's due to the fact that you can't afford the independent schools. But we want really to support and call upon the department to say, apparently, you have arrived at a social justice principles, which are 6 of them, and then, but there is one that is still lacking out of these 6 social justice principles: quality education. And National Association of School Government wants to take a step back and say, now we have to focus on the quality of education. And there are also 6 elements that influence quality education. So we have to concentrate on that, supporting the department to achieve those 6 elements. And just to ensure that now we monitor, we evaluate whether we have achieved or what is the problem, because some of these are the teacher and the methods. So we have to look into that. The type of teachers we have, are they able to deliver in terms of content? And if they don't, how do we support the teachers?
Lebogang, are independent schools delivering? Earlier on, you touched on the issue of various challenges within the sector, and I guess this perception that independent schools are offering quality education, but from what you told me, you don't think that that is the case with all schools.
Certainly, Busisiwe. Thank you very much for re-emphasizing that. And it's important for parents to understand that. And we need to get rid of this myth that independent automatically means good and public automatically means bad. We've got very excellent public schools in our country, and we've got very excellent independent schools in our country. And equally, in the independent sector, we have some very, very bad schools.
What are some of those challenges? Take us through some of those challenges. What are they getting wrong? Have you made an assessment of this?
Yes. So for us at ISASA, we believe in 3 things: quality, values, and diversity. So if a member school does not meet our quality criteria, they cannot become members of our school. So as part of that, we look at the matric results as an indicator, how safe the children are the ablution facilities good, is teaching and learning. And ISASA member schools go through an independent quality assurance process every 6 years, and that makes it conditional on them remaining our members. So we really are strict, and not every independent school could actually qualify for ISASA membership. And the Constitution is very clear. Section 29 says anyone can start an independent on condition
that the quality offered by that independent school is not of a lesser quality of that of a comparable public school.
Yeah.
So all independent schools, if registered, must provide a similar or better quality than a public school.
Yeah.
But let me re-emphasize again, Busisiwe. It doesn't mean because the school is independent, it means that therefore the school is independent, it's a good school. And as I say, the fly-by-night schools, the schools where the schools are not registered. So all our members have to be registered with the Department of Education. And also it is very important for parents to make sure that they know the image number of the school and make sure that the quality is better than that or the quality is similar to what they would get at a public school.
At the back of that conversation, Lebogang, is certainly the increasing prices or school fees of independent schools. And are parents really getting their money's worth?
The great difficulty is, as in the public sector as well, your wage bill is so high, Busisiwe. So really, in terms of education inflation, it is invariably between 2 and 3% higher than general inflation. But unfortunately, what we're seeing with the economic downturn is that schools, and many of our independent schools, are increasing salaries by inflation because literally parents are not able to absorb fee increases that are higher than inflation. So we have seen a trend in the SASO schools of fee increases that are below double digits. Sometimes schools will increase the fees by 10%, 12%, but this year we've seen an increase of around 6, 7, 8%.
That as an SGB, do you think that the steep fees are just a practical thing?
Where in the independent schools
Yeah,
or
in
the public
independent schools.
Well,
You can also contradict with public schools as well.
yeah, the difference is that by its nature, they fund themselves, you know. So, and I would not like to justify whether steep or not steep, because the truth of the matter is that the government is responsible for the education of their children. And our government is trying really to ensure, as I said now, probably they have already achieved the 6 social justice principles.
Yeah.
The access. I mean, children are accessing education in South Africa. I mean, no child in South Africa can say, no, I haven't yet gone to school. I've not gone to school because the fees are steep, the fees are what, and all. There's no, the schools in South Africa are categorized. We have got the quintiles and all those things.
All right, let's leave it there. I have been in conversation with Lebogang Montjane, who is the Executive Director of the Independent Schools Association of South Africa. Thank you so much for your time this evening, sir. I've also been talking to Matakanye, who's the Secretary General of the National Association of Schools Governing Bodies. Of course, just talking about the cost of private school versus that of public school.